welcome to my crazy life. I'm Lori, and today I have travel tip number 3. As I've said 5 gazillion times, I'm prepping for my trip to Scotland, and I wanted to bring some of my ideas to you on how I prepare, pack, get ready, the whole shebang for my trip to Scotland. So sit back and enjoy. Today we're going to talk about research. So you've picked your place you're going to go, you know when you're going, you've got everything booked. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do, what you're going to do while you're there. And then a lot of that depends on the type of vacation that you're doing. If you're taking a cruise, a lot of the stuff will be done for you. As far as day-to-day activities on the ship, you'll have to do some research on the islands. But if you're doing like what I'm doing and we're flying to a destination pretty much on our own and we want to just see the things and do the things. So this is going to talk about how I go about prepping. And this is just my 2 cents. Your mileage may vary. So I've showed you this before, my little Bible for the trip. And I have in here so far, my days, which I have it all written down separate. I got to fill in what we're doing. And packing and clothing and my flight information. We have some tours booked, things like that. But how do I know what to book? How do I know what we want to see? So I always start with a book. I do recommend Rick Steves' books. He's really detailed. And he's very economically conscientious. He's looking at budget stuff as well. So there's a lot of information in here to start, to reading up on different museums and where you're going to be. And there's great maps. So if you're in town and you need to know where you're going, there's always maps. There's sometimes there's like information, contact phone numbers. Now, just keep in mind those things are subject to change. But it's a good first place to start, is a book. So got my book. I know when I'm going, what do we want to see? Like, we don't want to miss things. And Sarah and I, when we travel, enjoy being local. Going to coffee shops. I know there's Starbucks everywhere, but we try to avoid that. We prefer local coffee shops or tea or whatever, So what I do, my first step, is I go onto the internet. Google is our friend. They are going to have the most current and up-to-date information for you. So what I do is I get into my search bar and I put Edinburgh, UK, because there is an Edinburgh in Indiana, I learned. So Edinburgh, UK, and then I put my dates. June 5th, June 10th, June 12th, whatever. It will bring up things that are going on. Usually that'll take you to the city of Edinburgh's calendar. It might take you to a specific event that's going on. Like we learned that the Leith Festival, I think it's Leith. It's Leith. Festival is going on the week we're there, which is fabulous. Like I wouldn't know that ahead of time that there's a festival going on and we want to go. I was able to pull up a schedule of the different markets that'll be open around the city of Edinburgh. They have a lot of street fairs and street markets in the summertime. And so I found a schedule that said, on this day, this is open. This one will be here on this day. Go here for this one. So I have it all written down and I will drop it in my book I will drop those dates in here on my calendar. So I know already that Monday and Tuesday, we're not looking for anything to do. We're going to be traveling. Those are going to be our our guided tour. And it's an overnight. So we won't worry about that. But we can drop in, Leith Festival Parade, market. This market's open. This market's going to be here. That market will be there. This museum is having something here, or tickets are X amount of dollars to see the Edinburgh Castle, or like when we were in Paris one year, Wednesday nights is the late night for the Louvre. Like, those are things to know before you go. So we're not going to plan out hour by hour, day by day, but when we wake up in the morning, we're going to open up my little book and say, okay, well today, what is the weather? Because it's a really outdoor city. So let's look at the weather. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day, 60 degrees. Let's do our literary tour. Okay, so I'll write it in. We're doing the literary tour today. That means that we need to go. It's Wednesday and it starts at 1:30 and we need to go to the Writers Museum. Where's the Writers Museum? Okay, we'll write it down. All right, so we know we want to be there at like 1:15 for a guided tour. So what's around there that we want to do? Get the map. I mean, it just, you know, having this information at our fingertips makes spontaneity easier, I guess. As spontaneous as I can be. So I will have a list of activities and general ideas of what days they take place, but we won't have picked what we're going to do maybe till that morning when we wake up, or the night before. We may sit in our room and be like, okay, what do we want to do tomorrow? Where do we want to go? How are you feeling? My foot hurts, or, you know, I'm tired. Let's do something low key tomorrow, or hey, I really want to go see this, or blah, blah. You know, and then we kind of plan it out. But the internet is where I start. I guess that's my point. You know, we found out that Wicked is going to be in town. We love musical theater, but we saw Wicked in London and it's the same London cast. So we're not going to want to do that. So I'm like, okay, we don't want to do that. Let's take that off the list right away. That's not something we want to do. Oh, the Rolling Stones are going to be playing. Do we want to go see the Stones? Well, I've seen the Rolling Stones. She's not a huge fan, but she would go with me if I wanted to. But then I looked up the ticket prices and I said, oh no, we're not paying that. So scratch that off. I mean, these are just things like that if you plan ahead, you don't have a bunch of downtime. And the worst thing I can think about is leaving some destination that I may never get back to and have a lot of regrets. Why didn't we go here? Oh, I didn't know that was an option. So a little bit of research before you go, you know, helps you while you're there. One of the big things that we know we want to do is Cramden. It's like a suburb of Edinburgh, and there's a city bus that takes you from Edinburgh. You just get on the bus. It's $3 round trip. You go up, you get off, and there's an island that can only be reached at low tide. I mean, how fun. Like, things like that we really want to do. Like, we're super going to be into packing lunches, throwing things in backpacks and go. You know, so the tide schedule for that little trip is going to be very important. And you can't always rely on your phone and internet access because, you know, yes, you can pay for that, but it's very expensive. And once you turn your telephone off of airplane mode and put it on to telephone mode, you are now subject to that phone pinging the tower all day, every day. You can't turn on your phone access and not have it start using data immediately. And so really, I mean, unless you have an international data plan and you've budgeted for that, I don't recommend turning your phone on unless it's a dire emergency. So what I do is I put my phone on airplane mode. Now, I can access my telephone, I can access any saved note documents that I have, and I can access the internet if I log in. And Edinburgh happens to have free citywide internet. So we can lock into that. I'm not doing any banking on that, and I'm certainly not thinking it's a secured network, but looking at bus schedules and things like that could be a possibility. However, I've been to cities before that have the free internet, and it's not always reliable. So look ahead, write down the bus schedule. What time does the bus run? Is it every half hour? Is it every 45 minutes? Where do we pick it up? How do we, you know, those little details just save you headaches, save you aggravation when you want to go do something, and they save you time. Now, we're lucky because Sarah's girlfriend from college, I think they were in the same sorority, possibly. Anyway, her friend is in Edinburgh, and she's been doing all these things, so she's going to kind of go with us when we all have the time to be together. She's going to take some time and come with us, and hopefully she'll be able to go to Cramden and show us the ropes of that little trip. But, you know, we're lucky in that aspect. but we wouldn't have to have Tasha help us. I mean, I will have a printout of the bus schedule of the things, you know, the routes that we're probably going to want to take. Like, I'll just have it jotted down how to do it. Talk to people, ask people questions who've been there. Talk, you know, great resources, locals, especially in a community like the UK. People are very friendly. Talk, strike up a conversation like, hey, what should I see? What shouldn't I miss? Where shouldn't I go? You know, what neighborhoods maybe aren't the best to be in, or areas, or what is the one thing that I should not miss when I'm in Scotland? You know, talk to people who've been, talk to people who are from there. Get on the internet. Again, the internet. There's web pages, there's forums, Facebook groups dedicated to the places that you're going, no matter where you're going. But you just have to ask, and you have to look, and you need to be proactive about that. And then back to maps. There's apps. There's an app for Scotland's bus system. But again, how reliable is my internet going to be? So that's going to be something I'll load when I get there if we feel like we need this app. But it's this, and I don't even think it's just to Scotland. I think it might be for like all the bus, you know, all the public transportations of the world. But you put in where you're at, where you want to go, and it will bring up your route for you. You know, and it's very, very user-friendly. Go here, get on this bus, go 2 stops, get off, get on this bus. You know, it's very step by step by step. And what you can do, if there's not free internet access, if you're at your hotel or before you go, pull them up and do screenshots and just save them to your phone. You can just pull up your screenshots. You don't have to have the internet access if you want to have everything still on your hand. Or you can print out the things. I'm not going to purchase a map before we go of the city because I'm very, very certain that they will have one at the airport when we get there. You need to know the exchange rate where you're going. Very important. The dollar is not equivalent to every other country's form of money. It's not a one-to-one exchange. Now, I'm assuming most people know this, but this is a beginner kind of chat, so I just want to cover it all. When we go to Scotland, right now, today, to buy 1 British pound would cost me $1.36 US. So the pound is stronger. So it's going to cost me more money in my dollars to buy a 1 pound item. So keep that in mind when you're there. It is very easy to look at things and say, oh, this is only $10. Well, really it's 13. You know, I mean, that's just a simple math. When 5 years ago, the dollar was so weak when we were there, it was 1 British pound took $2 US. So everything in the British pound, I had to double. You know, let that sink in for a hot minute. And London is super expensive. Scotland is not as expensive. But you need to know your exchange rate. Like, that is super important. And what currency they use where you're going. Very important before you go. What we plan on doing is having some US dollar cash. Do not exchange at the airport, at those exchange booths or those exchange machines. Just go to your first ATM machine that you see that's a local bank and withdraw cash, and it will spit out the equivalent in that currency. So let's say I'm going to take out $200 in the British sterling pound. So I put in 200, it'll spit it out. My bank will handle the conversion and say, you know, well, it's $260 or whatever, US. So you know, that's a good way to get money. If you go ahead of time, your bank is going to charge you fees. You know, if you go to one of those conversion booths, they're going to charge you fees. Just go to the ATM. There, other than maybe an ATM fee, which I happen to work for a bank, so I don't get those fees. It's still going to be less than what you would pay at a conversion booth. Also, you make sure you call your credit card companies, and all of them, not just the credit card that you say, oh, I'm going to use this one. No, you need to call all your credit card companies. You want to call your bank. You want to call whoever and let them know you're going to be out of the country, and here is your I need my card. I need you to not shut me off. Because what will happen is your bank will get a red flag that you're now using your ATM card or your credit card, not in Ohio, but you're in Dresden, Germany, and they're going to shut you down. And it could be days before you have access to money. Very important that you let your bank and your credit card companies know when you're going, when you'll be back, and where you're going to be. And that you know, give them an emergency contact number. Make sure they have your current email address. Make sure that they can get in contact with you if there's a problem. Make sure you know on the back of your card the international phone number to call your credit card companies. If there's an emergency, you just don't want to be in a foreign country and have no access to cash, no access to pay for the things you need to get yourself to safety. Like, that is going to be point one. You know, and the exchange rate changes daily. So really, you just need to get the money when you need it. I will take cash. Now, I happen to know that my two credit cards, foreign currency exchange rates, one has 0 and one is like 3%. So I will use the card if I'm going to, which I don't anticipate charging things, but just in case, I will choose the one with a 0 foreign currency exchange on there. So you got to take care of your home business. You know, if you have to stop your mail, make sure you stop your mail or have a neighbor pick it up. I will have my family stopping in and out to check on my cats. And I'm not going to worry about my mail. My mailman will just stuff it in my box. So I might leave a note that says, hey, on vacation, because we have a mailbox. So nobody would know. My mail's not going to pile up. If you have a newspaper, you want to stop service. There's nothing that indicates that the home is empty than mail it and newspapers sitting outside. And then the other place that I look, there's two other places that I look for activities and things going on and things to do. The city that you're going to, or the closest major city where you're going, you want to look at their website. They usually have a calendar of events at the, what is the place called? We would have a name for it here, but every place would have a different, but it's Commerce Department would have maps. But they would also have calendars letting you know what's going on in their city. Tourism is big, you know. They want to let people know. So that's a place to look. And also check Ticketmaster. Like, I have the app and I just go on there and I put in Edinburgh, UK, and I put some dates, and it will pull up things that I wouldn't know what's going on. Maybe I want to see a show. Maybe I want to see a concert. Maybe, you know, Adele is performing and I can get tickets. I mean, just not necessarily that I have to buy tickets, but that also lets you know, hey, something big is going on and maybe I don't want to be there on this day. Maybe we want to switch up our dates, you know, kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that I've come up with in trip preparation or research of my destination, because at this point I know where I'm going, I know when I'm going, but now what are we going to do while we're there? So I hope this is helpful. It is, you know, some of it's common sense, but some people, if you just don't know, you don't know, and I want to be helpful as I can. So thanks a lot for watching, and hopefully you travel soon. Bye.